What's up, guys? It's your boy Mizzy, and I'm here today to do a movie review for Friday the 13th, the 2009 remake. So this movie right here, well, before I get into that, I just want to give a little background on my introduction to Friday the 13th and Jason. My favorite slasher movies growing up was Friday the 13th. I always loved, for some reason, you know how everybody have an attachment to a certain movie. And yes, I do like Halloween and, other movies, but Friday the 13th was my slasher movie. When we argued with people like, who you take, Freddy, Jason, or Michael, I always was a Michael guy. Jason guy. I always was Friday the 13th. I was like, man, look, can't nobody mess with Jason. That's my guy. So like I said, man, ever since I was younger, I don't remember the age of the first movie I watched. I know it wasn't the very first one. It was like other ones. By the time, like I said, by the time I started watching Friday 13, they was made, before I was even born. So by the time I started watching them, I think it might have been on, ain't no telling, by the fifth or sixth one. But whichever one I watched first, I think it was, and I haven't watched it in years. I think it was the one where the girl she was kind of psychic or had some kind of abilities. If anybody in the comments remember which one it was, like I said, you could comment. But like I said, I always loved Jason, and I think this is a movie that I don't know how it was rated. I haven't watched anybody review for this. I haven't seen like how people felt about this movie really. But rewatching it and watching it when it came out, I think this movie doesn't get spoke about enough because this really was a very underrated movie to me. Like I said, maybe people do like it, but I just haven't seen it spoke about enough. But anyways, guys, like I said, this is 2009. Michael Bay, like I said, produced this. And like I said, man, this is, anytime you hear Crystal Lake, you know what you're watching. You know immediately what you're seeing. And like I said, I love the way Michael Bay starts this movie out. It starts with, it's like I said, it's 2009. So a lot of times you got to think about, okay, there's new people who's going to watch this movie, never seen a Friday the 13th. They don't know what this movie about. But how can we introduce that part in a movie without the people who've already seen this film not being like, okay, I got to watch all this backstory. He does it very well, short, quick, to the point. The movie starts with showing Jason's mom, arguing with one of the campers. And like I said, about Jason being drowned, them not watching Jason. All of a sudden, boom, okay, if you're a new person to introduce to this, you see this, and then, like I say, Jason's mom gets decapitated. And then, like I say, boom, when it cuts to modern time, all of a sudden, when the campfire, the group that, like I said, the group that we first meet, that you kind of think that this movie may be based around, but it's only the sister, the one girl, that comes to be still in the movie. But when you first see this group, you're thinking, okay, like this is the group we're gonna be watching. But anyway, like I said, the campfire story, when the guy starts explaining, I had a friend who went here. It was a mom who went crazy. They killed the campers because her son Jason drowned, and then then she got beheaded. Now all of a sudden, like I said, we the viewers who've already watched this horror series, we know exactly what happened. But now, if like I said, if you're with a friend or anybody who've never seen any Friday 13, they're caught up that quick. So I just want to give Michael Bay a heads up to that because I think that was real important. Like I said, just because Friday 13, if especially from 2009, and we haven't gotten one since then, but there's a lot of space between some of the films, and like I said, a lot of the people who did see the earlier ones, like I said, that they're aged out, and like I said, a lot of people going to the movies at that time definitely wouldn't have seen some of them. But anyway, like I said, man, that the campfire, the guy explains very well, boom, and then like I said, you caught up right there. And one of the things I really want to touch on in this, I think, and like I said, this may be controversial, I think in horror series, this is one of the best horror movie openings. I know, like I said, it may be controversial, but the opening scenes of this. So, first of all, you got the group of kids out here. Well, let's say 20s, something like that. But anyways, like I said, they're out there, having a good time. Two of the guys, they're trying to find weed to sell. And then, like I say, once they're the two other, they go, walking. Then you have the other three there, the other two, they're trying to have sex. So they tell the other guy, like, hey man, you're gonna have to get out of here. He goes and finds the weed. But then when he finds the weed, who does he stumble upon? Jason. And then, like I said, once he looks, he sees Jason. And when we get introduced to Jason, we see like, okay, this is Jason pre-masked. He has kind of his face just wrapped up in like I guess not bandages, but like I said, like just cloth. His face is wrapped up in cloth. He immediately runs to the guy, kills him, and now we was like, when I first seen Jason run to him, because we never seen in the previous film Jason moving how he moved in this film. This movie, it sets the tone off straight in the beginning. Jason, you're like, oh, this is a different Jason. He's aggressive. I'm talking about he's literally full speed running in some of the scenes in this movie. But like I said, he kills the guy. And then another scene that was great, like I say, I'm still on the opening scene. When the like I say, the couple out, they're exploring the cabin, but the other couple that's in the tent, the girl, she hears something, so she sends her boyfriend out. She thinks that it's the guy watching them. It's not. He goes, he finds the weed as well, but then he also finds, I think it was a glow stick. He finds that, and then he hears screaming back in the camp. And then, well, before that, the scene when she's in the tent, the way the light showing, and then, like I say, Jason steps back in the tent, rips the tent open, grabs her. That was a great shot. And then, like I say, Jason ties her up, hangs her up over the campfire. When the boyfriend runs back in, he steps into a bear trap. Like I say, that whole scene, it was like, well, we're immediately in the action. There's no long drawn out like 30, 40 minutes before we get to seeing like, okay, what's the meat of this movie? No, we're dead into the action. And like I said, man, when the boyfriend, boom, he steps on the bear trap, then all of a sudden he's there screaming. We flash back to the other group. And then, like I say, I'm going to go jump ahead a little bit. When we see the boyfriend with the other girl, he, picks the head about the, like I said, the little thing Jason made. The words escaping my mind right now, but it's something that, but like I said, the words escaping my mind. But anyway, Jason, he shuts the door while they're in there when he drops the head and stuff. And then he tells his girlfriend to wait. He's walking to the door trying to see, what's going on. And I would never get on the floor looking under the door. Like, come on, man. Jason starts stabbing through the floor. And then, I don't know. And like I said, this is a horror movie, so we all know people do stupid stuff. But he's still on the floor. Jason stabs him through the foot. That scene was shot great. The way he's getting stabbed through the floor, he tells his girlfriend to run. She runs. Then, like I say, when she runs to the campfire, and then you see like, oh, wait a minute. The girl, she's still, you see the fire. You see her dead. The guy, the other guy, he's still in the bear trap screaming. She runs to him. And then all of a sudden, when he's looking back, like past her, you see Jason just full running, sprinting. And he just, with the machete, bam, chops him, hits him dead in the top of the head. And then, like I say, she backs back, and you see Jason running towards her, and he's swinging the machete, and it fades to black. Man, masterful opening scene. Immediately, I'm intrigued. Immediately, I'm full. I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm full into the movie. Like I say, and anybody who knows it, especially with Hollywood, remakes are one thing that Hollywood sometimes leans on too much, because when you already have equity built up with fans, it's easy to get just like, especially horror movies, because a lot of times horror movies are filmed cheaper, but it's easy to be like, you know what? We're going to film this movie. We already got equity with fans. We don't have to put that much into it. we'll put this out, we'll make our money 3-4 times, and boom. No, Michael Bay did not lean on it. I think he did a masterful job with this. Like I said, that opening scene, to this day, and I just recently rewatched it, to this day, that opening scene still stands up. And like I said, 2009 wasn't so long ago, but it's some time ago. And I think horror just recently started back getting into a good space. And like I said, I think some of the remakes that we got earlier, 2000, with the Texas Chainsaw Massacres and them movies, I think they didn't get enough credit for being as great a remakes as they were. But anyways, guys, like I said, great opening scene. I love the opening scene. But like I say, another thing I want to get into, just a couple of key points in the movie to me. So one scene that I really love, when Jason, when he kills the guy, I think it was in an attic or whatever, and then this is when Jason has the face reveal. And there's a couple movies through Friday the 13th we see Jason's face, but when Jason's face is revealed and the guy just like, we see Jason's face is just formed, and you like, wait, what the hell? But when he kills the guy, and then he finds the hockey mask, puts the mask on, that shot with the broken glass in the mirror, he's looking in the mirror, I was like, that was badass. I really like this scene. Like I said, that the cinematography on there, I was like, okay, that's really greatly shot. Because a lot of times, especially in horror movies, it's a skill to stand on a shot long enough, and it's a skill from panning. If anybody knows, like really watches a lot of horror movies, there's a skill to catching your eye on this point and taking it to that one. But anyways, like I want to get to some of my best kills for this film. Man, when the girl, they're jet skiing, and you know, when she falls off jet ski, everything, the scene when she's under the dock and Jason walks in, you know, with the machete, stabs her through the dock and pulls her up, that was a great shot. I really liked that. I was like, okay, that was, and anybody who knows slasher movies is all about the kills. We're not expecting just 5-star actors. Anybody who expecting that in a horror film, like, they're not getting it. Like a slasher, especially a horror film, the slashers are different, but a slasher film, you're looking for disposable bodies, to say the least. People do like, okay, and just like the people who had sex in this film, boom, we know they're gonna be killed. That's a classic, we know that. But anyway, like I said, the stabbing through the dock, that was great. And then also the scene when Jason was standing behind the guy in the garage. I think it was a garage or a summer house, whatever. The house was not, you know, onto the main one. When the guy, I think the Asian guy, when he was standing and the light is flickering, and then all of a sudden you see Jason standing behind him, and the guy who played Jason, I can't remember his name, but he's like 6'5", 6'6", so very imposing. When he's standing behind him, grabs him, and then like I say, the guy grabs a screwdriver, tries to stab Jason, and Jason reverses it. It just shows like how strong Jason is. Like his strength is supernatural. It's a lot of times in this film that you see like him carrying dead body just like they're nothing. It shows like, okay, this guy, like his strength is just off the charts. But anyway, like I said, that was a great kill, the flickering the light and stuff. But then, like I said, who knew that Jason was performing in the axe throwing? You know, the axe throwing, when we all see it, like when people go to these places and they throw the axe, you know, got the scene set up. When the black guy, I think his name was Lawrence in this, when he's going to search for his friend, he goes down there, all of a sudden, he actually gave Jason the best fight in the film. It was funny, he literally stabbed Jason. He's like, man, get off me. He runs, take off running. Jason, of course, just a random axe in a tree stump. He grabs the axe, runs, and people, like, you know how strong you would have to be to do this? He's running with an axe, throws it, boom, hits the guy right in the back, takes him down. That right there, that was great. That scene was great. I was like, oh, okay, they really, like I said, Michael Bay, you did your thing in this. And then another scene that I love, man, the driver that it was like the older guy, when he stops in the road, it looked like he had a tow truck or something. But the other guy, the guy who I guess supposed to be the douchebag in the movie, the girl's boyfriend, but when he has his flashlight looking, trying to see who's driving the car, Jason all of a sudden shows up, and the guy's looking in the rearview mirror. When he sees Jason, he just shakes his head and was like, "I'm finna drive off." I like when they do that in horror movies because we always say like, "Why is he doing that? That's stupid. Who would do that?" This shows this guy, and Jason throws the guy on the back of the car, well, the truck. But it shows that the guy peels out like, hell no, I ain't got nothing to do with this. That I love scenes like that because they show like some realism. Like, yeah, most people are not saving people. Most people are running. They're trying to escape. Like I say, and we all know, like, especially a lot of times we watch these horror movies. I always say people gotta make stupid decisions for the film to keep progressing. And in most horror films, we just accept. Most horror fans, we just accept that. But anyways, guys, and then I want to kind of get into, because like I said, I could talk about this movie for an hour, and like I say, I don't want to keep rambling stuff. But another scene that I feel it paid homage to some of the previous films, man, when they, of course, they the girl, I don't know if it was a wood chip or what it was. When Jason, they tied a chain around his neck, she stabs him with the machete. The next day, he kicks Jason off into the water, throws the mask. And then when the brother walks over to Jason, when the brother walks over to the girl, and then all of a sudden, Jason busts through the dock and grabs her, and then it just fades to black. End of the movie, masterfully shot. I'm mad that we haven't got a Friday 13th since that movie. But that was a great scene. And I always tell people, if you've watched horror films before, anytime, say the movie, it still has running time, you like something's going to happen. There's something that's going to happen in this film. It's not just going to end with Jason getting killed, because we all know Jason is supernatural. Like I said, we know Jason just ain't getting killed. But anyways, like I said, guys, man, that's my movie review for Friday 13th, the 2009 remake. I just wanted to give it some credit. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But anyways, guys, like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll catch you next time.